What is going on, Sooner Nation? Happy Tuesday night to you guys. See you guys already in the chat talking about some things that happened today, that news and stuff. Hunter, how are you tonight?
Good, man. How are you, Jay?
I'm good. I'm cold. It's too cold for April, guys.
Dude,
Too
it's
cold
it's
for
crazy
April.
how it goes. Yesterday, there was a chance of baseball-size hail throughout really the entire state of Oklahoma, even into your area, into Arkansas, and then today it's I think a high of 50 here in Norman today, mid 50s. It was cold.
Yeah. And Bobby talking about portal entries, and I think the main thing talking about right now in the group chat is obviously you saw Venables and others talk about Troy Everett going to have surgery on the knee, going to be out a considerable amount of time, maybe back fall camp. But I think they got to get a portal center, Hunter. That's my opinion. I know you kind of disagree, but I think you got to get somebody at least with some experience. Because what if Bates were to get injured and or not be great? I mean, you got to have somebody you can go to. I mean, who knows? Even if Everett comes back in fall camp, how good is he going to be in fall camp? I mean, I didn't think he was the starter anyway, but
Yeah. I think Josh Bates is going to have to be the guy. Portal, it's hard to tell. Like, who's going to be in? Like, no one knows yet. It's not open yet. Is there going to be anyone? Like, honestly, this is my question for viewers that are saying portal. Is there anyone in the portal right now that you think is better than Josh Bates?
I don't. No.
I
agree. I agree.
You don't know yet on that.
I agree, but what I'm saying is you got to go find depth or something, don't you?
I don't know. Like they've moved guys to center.
Or you're going to have to move.
Eugene Brooks played some center in high school. Josh Isosa, I was shocked to see, or like last week when they said it, that he's taking reps at center. Did not expect that for Isosa. I expected him to be a little bit more of a guard. And I see the Hatchet comment. He's not in the portal yet. Like,
and
until
he's coming
portal,
off an injury. He's coming off an injury.
Yeah, it's kind of the same boat type of situation.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, we need a center and at least a legit. I think talking about basketball here. Yeah, another portal basketball. Javen McCollum portaled, so that leaves you Owe, Uzan, McCollum gone.
I mean,
it's gonna be a whole new squad.
You have to hope for Porter Moser that's about it. No one else.
Let me say this though. Let me say this in defense of it is this is not just Oklahoma for basketball for portal. Yeah, it's all over the nation. I saw teams like Colorado who made a run this year. Eddie Lampkin gone. Other people gone. I think that's what it almost is going to be in basketball. Is you're going to have year-to-year turnover in basketball, and I don't understand it. I don't know why Portal can't keep a guy like Javian McCollum another year. I mean, I don't understand it. You know,
it just means that you have to hit even more on the guards that you land in the portal. They have to be guys.
He hasn't hit yet.
Yeah, it's 2 straight years. Yeah, Grant Sherfield, he looked really good. Big 12 play came around, not so much. Javian McCollum looked really good. Kind of went downhill. Big 12 play. Did have that memorable shot in Bedlam to really save the season at that point in time for the Sooners. So, yeah, you gotta. It's another year that you're having to find somebody out of the portal and it turn out successful.
And they cannot lose Jalen Moore. I see Bobby's comment. That's one you can't afford to lose Jalen Moore.
Yeah, Jalen Moore. That would be a tough one to lose. He seems like the guy that you want to build around for most of the season, if not all of it. He was the best player on the floor. OU, I think, really needs him back for his final season.
Yeah, Colin, seeing the clips today for OU is fire. One thing's consistently impressed I see is the ball placement, putting where only your wide receiver can get it. That's true. It sounds like Bauer Sharp just continues to turn heads like crazy, which that would be great. I mean, if he's going to be a great tight end, I'm here for it.
Okay.
You know what I love, Hunter? I love that he was running that deep side route.
Bauer Sharp, man, is an athlete. It's crazy to me how he's just now onto the Power 4 scene. Looking at him, it's one of those evals and just the time of the world when he was going out of high school, played high school quarterback, and just kind of got recruited as that. And all he was able to do was go to Southeastern. This comment here: players don't want to be at a football school. That's so like false. Look at Alabama; they're in the Final Four. They are a football school. They're in the Final Four right now. Football school doesn't matter in that part.
It does matter a little bit, but hey, Braden says any news on the Drake player visited today? That's all I know. He was in a visit. Gray God, you're talking about J.J. Hester had a nice one-handed catch in the corner of the end zone. J.J. Hester. Alabama basketball dropped by to say hi. Yeah, Sharp looks sharp. That's exactly right. Am I lagging, Hunter, still?
Yeah.
Let me try to join back.
They did invest in basketball, Mark. I get that point. I wouldn't say, though, that players don't want to play at football schools. I think it doesn't have to do if it's a football school or not. If there's NIL programs, that's how it's going to go. Alabama's made it work, even though they are a football school. As we all know, they're in the Final Four right now, one game away from playing for a national championship.
Hopefully this is better, Hunter.
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, good deal. Monty says BB said they were in better shape all the way around from when he got there with a big smile on his face. I think he must be talking about post-practice interview or something.
I mean, if they are in better shape, you have to hope for OU's sake that it translates to later in the season. It seems like the last 2 years that's been kind of the theme, so much better shape. And then it's almost too much, it felt like, because you get to that midway point and it kind of just falls apart.
Yeah, Jimmy, I think they absolutely go after a center in the portal. I think Hunter disagrees, but I think they absolutely go after one.
I don't completely disagree that they do. It's
and
just
I'm not saying
matter.
For a starter. It's just for a starter.
Well, for a starter or not, it matters who it is. Who's going to be in the portal? No one knows yet. It's not April 15th. Guys aren't in the portal just yet. The only guy that people know that's going to be in the portal right now, really, of any sort of significance is Caden Proctor. He's going back to Alabama. That's already been said. So, Lori, Germ has the night off tonight.
Cross-country track meet, out of town. So, hey, Hunter, but what I'm saying is that even if Josh Bates is your guy, okay, you still have to go get some backup or something, because who's the second string center, Hunter, behind him?
A freshman.
Yeah,
that's. I mean, that's really what it was. It's been that way before. Like, it's a tough situation to be in, but I mean, you can't guarantee that there's going to be someone in the portal that's one, worth a scholarship, or two, better than Josh Bates. Yeah, Josh Bates was the number one center out of high school. It's year two off seasons for him. Year two with Bill Bedenbaugh. I think he can get it all together. That's just my thoughts on it. Yeah, Josh Isosa is a backup right now.
That's not good.
freshman from Edmond Santa Fe. I personally think he would be a few years away from seeing any sort of playing time. Just a little bit more developing to do for him.
Mark says move Canick to center. Jay's asking how much has Brooks been seen working at center. I don't know, Jay, but
that's another guy that you would think kind of gets a little bit of movement into there if he's not competing for a starting guard spot. I mean,
let me say this though:
if you have Fabechi starting there, I don't think Brooks has a chance of starting over Fabechi Wiwu.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, center is so much different than the other lineman positions.
It is.
I mean, you got a lot to learn to play center. You know what I mean? It's not just get up there and snap the ball. I mean, there's so much more to learn in it.
Mark, I think OU does have a club rugby team. It's not NCAA, just club. I believe they have one.
I have not heard any truth to that about
that
Ollie
was
Gordon.
Fake. That was a fake tweet. It was April Fool's Day yesterday. That was just a very idiotic fake tweet. I saw it on Twitter as well. Can't believe everything you see.
Colin, I think it's going to be very difficult year in and year out to have – you're pretty much going to have a coach that can coach in a 1 to 2 year span. Whereas what I mean by that is you're going to basically have different guys coming in every year, almost like an NBA roster in some point where it's not building it from the high school rank. You can get high school players, but can you keep them 3 years, 4 years? That's the issue, Hunter.
That Oklahoma needs to figure out how to do that. You're not Duke or Kentucky where you're landing 5 McDonald's All-Americans every year. They're one and done, and it's rinse and repeat. You're Oklahoma. You're a team that's trying to make a tournament, and that's a good year. You got to keep guys for multiple years.
But here's the difference, Hunter. Here's the difference between basketball and football. Football, Oklahoma is seen as a blue blood, right?
Well, yeah.
There's nowhere to leave. Listen, there's nowhere to leave OU and go play at a better school. You could stay at OU. They're in that conversation. If you're really good at Oklahoma and Kansas comes calling in basketball, why not just go to Kansas?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I think is
where
it's going to be difficult for Oklahoma.
The portal, though, it's also not the worst thing to have to. I mean, you're looking at NC State with their entire starting 5. They are playing in the Final Four Saturday. Was transfers. I mean, it can happen. That team they've won 9 straight games. It's why they are where they are today. One of the craziest runs in March Madness history for them. It's working out.
Yeah, but I just think no matter what school you're at in college basketball these days, keeping players is going to be very difficult from year to year. And you know what? It may be a thing where I'm going to go play at OU for a year, and then I'm going to go across country to California and see what it's like there. I mean, I don't know. I don't think transferring in basketball, to me, the upside in basketball transferring is you can go in 1 year, go from an average player, go be on a team and dominate in basketball, and your stock rise dramatically. I think it's a little more difficult in football.
I agree. Look at Dalton Connect. He was from
some
school in Colorado to arguably the best player in college basketball this year at Tennessee. Going to be an NBA lottery pick this June.
Yeah, amazing how On3 has swooped in and all of a sudden became the recruiting website in just a few years. They got Wilfong now. It's kind of over for everyone else. They are loaded, Colin. They have pretty much taken over that space, right, Hunter? I mean, it's crazy.
Shannon Terry, that's the 3rd site he has built. Built Rivals, built 247, now On3. It's impressive what they're doing. Keep on landing those big names. Getting Wiltfong is huge for them on the national scale.
Yeah. And Mess, I agree 1,000,000% with this comment. OU needs to throw every attractive NIL dollars at Oklahoma talent who have family in Oklahoma. That is where OU basketball needs to start. And it starts with guys like Parker Fredrickson, who ended up at Wake Forest. Okay. It starts with these guys that are in the portal right now that may visit OU. They're all from the area. the guy from Virginia Tech, Padula, Garrison. You got to land some of these guys.
That's how
They're
you
from the area.
As a program like Oklahoma, not a blue blood, kind of middle of the road. I mean, they've missed the tournament now for 3 straight years. You really need to land the regional talent.
Hey, and I saw
that out of state, nearby areas. You need to be able to land those guys. They're trying to through the portal, second chance on some of them.
Well, you saw Zeke Mayo committed to Kansas today. He was a guy that OU was kind of talking about getting, but I think that might open it up a little bit for Garrison because they already got Mayo. You think Kansas will go after Garrison hard, or you think that? I think that might open the door there for Oklahoma a little bit. Now we'll see. He could go back to OSU too. So,
and with Kansas, it's kind of, I think it's a little interesting for them of how early it is in the portal process to try to be going. Like Garrison's a really good player. Don't get me wrong, but you have to look at it from Kansas's perspective. There's going to be some really big time players entering the portal. That's how it goes. They landed Hunter Dickinson from Michigan a year ago. I think it was later in the process there. So if they have to play the waiting game, how long would Garrison be willing to wait on Kansas if Kansas was to try to land one of the superstars that's going to enter at some point?
Yeah, it's a good question. I was going to get to something here. Oh, Trent Wilson. We've all seen the crystal balls. It sounds like Trent Wilson, everything's trending great for that. You're right, Bobby. And then I want to get to this. Seeing reactions to scrimmage reports has either people hyped for the defense or in panic over the O-line. I think a lot of people, I think it's a combo of both, Colin. I think people are extremely hyped for the defense, but right now, I'm sorry, Hunter. I'm very, I don't know the right word, but leery. The offensive line's concerning right now. It's concerning in a few different spots. And now I think Fabechi will be great. I think he'll be good. I think Jacob Sexton probably has a spot locked up. I think Heath Azida probably is going to be good. But there's 2 spots. And if you have 2 weak players on offensive line, Katie bar the door in the SEC. Okay? Katie bar the door. Jackson Arnold will get lit up if you have 2 weak spots on the offensive line. Am I wrong?
You're not. One thing I'm looking forward to seeing in the spring game is what the O-line looks like. A lot of new faces. I mean, you're having 4 new starters there because Sexton's the only one who has started, and he only started the last few games for OU. So,
and here's the thing, Hunter, at the spring game, if the defensive line, if they don't dominate, I might be more concerned.
I don't know.
I'm serious.
I think it's a double-edged sword. Like
I don't, Hunter. From what we know on this offensive line injuries, Hunter, the defensive line should dominate the spring game. I'm sorry.
But what if the O-line is just better than people thought?
Who, Hunter? Who?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
because they have injuries all over the place, and they have guys that
all over the place. They have Troy Everett.
Hunter, you look at a guy like Jake Taylor was injured most of last year.
Yeah, he's had a lot of injuries.
Okay, what I'm saying is they have no experience at all.
You're right.
And I know the defensive line, some of them don't either. But I think defense is always ahead of offense in spring game every year. That's the way it typically is. So what I'm saying by that is I would be concerned if it isn't.
Man, PJ had a good spring game last year. I don't know if you remember that. I can't remember who he bull rushed. There was someone down on the side of the end zone where we were sitting at that was like, wow, that's what a 5-star defensive lineman looks like. Gonna get to see one of those this year. David Stone. Also, 3-4 stars? Jaden Jackson, Danny Okoye, Nigel Smith, and on the D line as well. Jake Taylor and Howland are guys I'm looking to see how they look. Not necessarily expecting them to be starters, but just wanting to see how they've progressed over the offseason.
Hey, and I get it. Jake Taylor's upside. Jake Taylor could be a great offensive lineman. But if you're not concerned that he's never played a snap, a meaningful snap, I think that's my thing. That's where I'm coming from.
I mean,
I would say
have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere.
I understand that, and we'll know a lot after the first 3
So
games.
is there? Do you have worry with David Stone if you were to say start?
No, it's a different position.
So it's only because it's a center.
Hunter, defensive line, a lot of defensive line is beat your man, get to the quarterback. I understand offensive line is similar when you got to get your man, but you got blitz packages coming. You got a lot of stuff coming at you is what I'm saying mentally.
I get that. I was just trying to see what your thoughts were on that.
And I agree. I think Ozida will step up. And I also think I never thought Spencer Brown would start. I'm not sold on him yet. In fact, I like that Jake Taylor. If Jake Taylor and Jacob Sexton are both starting, I'd be happy. I think both those guys were highly recruited guys that we thought, hey, give them a year or two, they're going to be pretty good. And I still think that. I think where I'm a little bit more leery and stuff is the fact that they just didn't get a whole lot of reps last year, even in games they could have got in. You know what I mean? Like Ozida last year, I wish he would have got in games they were dominating. He didn't get in that much.
Really, what other games could he have got in? Let me see his snap.
I mean, TU. I mean,
yeah.
I think they're the bookends as well.
They did really good rotating for the Arkansas State game, but I guess that's what happens when you're up 73-0. I think it was like 70 out of 85 scholarship guys played. It was some crazy number that you almost had to think it was a typo, seeing that after the game.
So, Bobby, the way I take it is you're not concerned at all about offensive line, just about center, correct? What about everybody else on the chat? Is that really your only concern is center, or is it the whole offensive line in a whole? Hunter, what about you? Offensive line or center? What are you concerned about?
I think offensive line as a whole. How are they going to gel? I think they have guys like Favecci especially. I think that is one of the best transfer additions they brought in. A guy that, I mean, we've talked about it a lot, fell through the recruiting cracks, was a COVID recruit, didn't get the camps, ended up walking on at North Texas, killed it there. So I'm high on him. I've been high on Josh Bates for a year now. I think he has the potential to be an elite center. Just have to see it there. And then tackles are the other one. Who's going to play opposite? Is it Spencer Brown? I mean, I watched Spencer Brown's highlights against Michigan before he got ejected in that game. I thought he played pretty well against a really good defensive line. So going to be looking to see how he does in the spring game.
Yeah, and Colin, that's why I think I'm a little more on edge, because you're not playing in Big 12. You're playing SEC with dominant defensive linemen, okay? And I understand, and I understand the people like Hunter. What I like is you just said you're concerned about the whole line, but you're also optimistic. And I think that can be true. It can be true that, hey, the offensive line, if you're on here and saying that the offensive line is not a worry at all, then I would question how you could say that. You can't say that with guys that have never played before. I don't care if they're all 5-star players. You can't say you got to still say, well, we'll see, because we don't know yet. And I think that's the thing.
Yeah. I think there's potential there. It's like my biggest takeaway from it all. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
The guys that they have, I mean, you look at who's coaching them. But it's the other thing with it. They can't, especially in the run game, they can't start off slow next year. You have to be kind of at the peak of your game through those first 4 games in the run game. What?
Yeah. You got to be by game 4 for sure. But
that's what I'm getting at. Like those, I forget. It's weird to have a cupcake in November for Oklahoma non-conference. Throwing me off that Tennessee is game 4, not game 5. So yeah. So correction, the first 3 games you have to be at the peak of your game and everything running like a well-oiled machine, or it's going to be a rude awakening in the SEC. You have Tennessee, you have Auburn. Play bad against them. Yeah, South Carolina. Play bad against those teams. You have Texas in that mix, where you're one-dimensional. It's really hard to win those games unless your defense is just playing unworldly.
Colin says, thoughts on the OU president mentioned possibly going to more or Tulsa for new arena because Norman is not agreeing. Tulsa?
I have not heard that. That is.
How would that work?
I don't know how that would work. I know OU has some, I think it's like a health program in Tulsa, OU Tulsa campus. They've recently started trying to expand there for different events, trying to get Tulsa kids to go to OU for school. So I don't know how that would work. I think if you're wanting to move it out of Norman, it would have to be more Oklahoma City. Like I can't see.
I don't think that'll help with the Thunder. That won't help at all.
No, but it wouldn't. It has to be in Norman. Okay, OKC, not Tulsa. So
hey, great God,
makes a little more sense, but it still really needs to be on campus or in Norman at the minimum.
Yeah, great God, I agree. EPL enrolling early would have been great. Tyler, yeah, you are for a dominant offensive line. I've seen you in the comments. You're really high on it. So we'll see. And then I want to get to this. A couple of things here. First, run game needs to be able to travel very well, especially in road games. 100% agree, Jackson. Run game's got to be better this year. And let's get to this. This is a good question. Do you believe that one position group could be an Achilles heel that ultimately cost them several games this year? I do believe that that's a possibility, that one group could let's just say, for instance, if it was the offensive line. Well, the offensive line causes you to be good or bad in running game and the passing game, and ultimately can cause more turnovers if the offensive line isn't good because Jackson is trying to throw it away. So I definitely think if the offensive line isn't very good, it could cost them a few games. I do. Just like if your quarterback is not good, it's going to cost you a few games.
Yeah, I think there's a few position groups that could be Achilles heel. Offensive line for one, kicking. I mean, you should expect closer games being in the SEC if the kicking game is just not good. You could lose games because of field goals. Jacob Sexton did wrestle in high school. He placed third at Deer Creek in the state championship. So I'm sure you guys saw that picture of him holding on to the pole, like with his body to the side. Oh, yeah. A guy that big shouldn't be that athletic. That's
no, he's really athletic. And the fact that he played last year speaks to his talent. It really does.
Coming off of the knee injury that happened in the bowl game against FSU the year before.
Hey, who won the championship last year, Hunter?
Michigan.
Who won the year before?
Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia. Okay, go to all these teams I'm mentioning. They have a really good run game.
They do.
Okay, and in fact, go look at those teams. I would say their quarterbacks made plays when they needed to, but nobody's going to call Stetson Bennett and Jay. God, I got a bug out here. McCarthy, all-world quarterbacks, right? Nobody's going to call them. Those teams were good in the trenches, and they were good at running the ball.
I would hold up on the J.J. McCarthy thing.
All-world?
I mean, he might be a first-round pick, Jay, this month.
I don't think he's all-world. I think he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not saying all-world. I kind of feel like you almost have to say all-world if a guy's a first-round pick. Like, that's tough to do, especially at quarterback.
Mystery season for OU. Jay Johnson OU won. I would agree. It is. I think mystery season because a couple of things. One, you're in the SEC, so you don't know. It's a tough schedule. But mystery. The reason I'm saying mystery is this: it's a team that legitimately I think can go 10-2, and legitimately I think can go 8-4. And I don't know other than that, but Those were my ceiling and the floor before we kind of got going this year. I'm going to stick with it. But it is a mystery, and I think it won't be a mystery once we get into the second, third game of the season, because you're going to see the offensive line be like either A, this team's got problems, or B, okay, they're going to be okay.
I would say fourth or fifth game. The first three, it's non-conference. You have to wait till they.
It doesn't matter, Hunter. If they struggle against those teams in offensive line, it's going to be a long year. That's
if they struggle, yes, absolutely. But if they look great, you still have to wait to see how they play against Tennessee, South Carolina, the heart of the SEC schedule those first few weeks.
Jackson just got off work, Dalpos. What if Bronny transfers to OU? Jackson, no shot. 0. Right?
I mean, I don't know why anyone would talk about that. I think that makes the only way is if OKC somehow signed LeBron. But even then, that makes no sense. Like, I can't believe I'm even saying that. I agree, Ricky. They're not. Yeah, good I don't mean it as cupcakes, like as your traditional cupcakes. I mean it as they are not SEC teams. Those are teams, though. If Oklahoma plays bad, they absolutely can be upset. It's good for them that they are playing at home in those games. A little bit of another factor in their favor. Yes, they are good tests.
Yeah, it's a good test. Only mystery position, in my honest opinion, I would also say, though, kicker. Kicker's a mystery for me.
Yeah, is Zach Schmidt going to be the kicker? Is he going to be better? Is it going to be Keltner? Is it going to be Liam Evans?
Yeah, who knows? Hey, let me get to trivia real quick. Trivia. Go check out the FanStop, fanstop.com. Use code SURGE. You'll get 10% off your first 3 months. Also, in the description of the video, there is a link. You click on it. You fill out the form. You get a chance to win a quarter zip pullover from the FanStop, okay? Go do that, please. It's awesome. FanStop. Jeremy texted me today and said the April shirt is so good. Fire, he said. So I'm excited. Here we go. Yeah, trivia. Here we go. It's a pretty short question here. I just want to know who's going to wear number 21 for Oklahoma this year on offense. Hunter, do you know it?
I believe I do, unless something switched up on me and I just never caught it at the first depth chart.
Not Bass, definitely not DG, not Hicks. Hicks is wearing 0. This is number 21. Not Tatum.
I don't think Bass or Tatum are on the roster just yet. They're not on campus, so.
Definitely not Caden Green, Mark, but I should give you a point for that. It's pretty funny. Same for Ron saying not Megwa. Should I give him a hint, Hunter?
No, because I'm kind of.
There it is. Is it Gary or Jackson that got it? I think Jackson got it first. Xavier Robinson.
Hey, I'm shocked it took that long.
By the way, guys, go watch a video. I don't remember what video it was on. The guy's a tank, okay? I saw him on the practice field, and I was like, holy moly. He is a tank, man. I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, I watched him a few times in high school, and watched him in a scrimmage against UConn before the season started, before week 1. Or before week 0, they do a weird high school football. And, I mean, just hurdling dudes, running straight through them till it's like, wow. Like,
yeah. Hey.
That guy's a grown man on a high school field. Just massive running back.
You know what? I think the running back room could be a big surprise for Oklahoma. I think Sam Franklin is going to be a pretty good player. I do.
How much does he get on the field?
I don't. That's like, what I don't know. That's what I don't know.
But then I also don't think he would transfer to OU from UT Martin unless he is going to get on the field. But like there's Sawchuk is, I think everyone would say he's RB1 right now for OU. Javante Barnes, healthy
Hicks
again. And Caleb Hicks. You saw the picture of the hurdle. You see here last year what Reggie Pearson, he kind of just threw out a Jonathan Taylor comparison to him. That was Caleb Hicks as a freshman. So you have another year in the weight room and off-season workouts under his belt. So, yeah, you have Emeka Megwa as well. You have Taylor Tatum, Xavier Robinson, Andy Bass, which those guys are, I think, going to be a little bit separated from that running back room, but there's a lot of guys there.
And, hey, by the way, Monty, that's a good point because I think I saw today he was returning punts, so that'd be good. There it is right there. Punt returners today. Jalil Farouk, Deion Burke, Sam Franklin, and this one surprised me. Carry on returning punts. Can you imagine a 6'6" guy back there returning punts?
Yeah, I do not think I will ever see Ivan Carrion returning punts in a game. I just 6'6" is way too big to be back there.
Yeah, Chief, thanks so much for the super. We appreciate it, Chief. Hey, guys, what would be the biggest win on OU's schedule this year? Let me say this. The biggest win as far as I think for OU fans, you can always say Texas, but I would say LSU or Bama for OU fans with that name, I think would be big. But let me tell you what I think is going to be the biggest game of the year, the game that's going to flip the script for this team. And I think it's going to be at Ole Miss. I think that's the game where there's going to be playoff berths hinging on it, a lot of things hinging on it. And I think that could be the swing game for Oklahoma this year.
I
also want to see them dominate Missouri.
I'm going with what Bobby said. Texas. They're the best team OU's playing all year. You win that game, that's the biggest win of the season.
But that's a rivalry game. You can't count that. They beat them last year. Didn't do anything for OU.
So, you do count it. It counts as a win.
It counts, but what I'm saying is that game's always a big game, Hunter. That game's always a big game.
Well, yeah, but it's the best team they're playing all year. So that's the biggest win on the schedule. I think Texas is the best team OU plays all year. I think Ole Miss is a second, close second.
Yeah, definitely one of the top two. Chief, who would yours be?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Chiefs' biggest win.
405 boy, I thought a lot of people would say this. I think that's a good one. At LSU, I think that's a big one. I don't know what LSU is going to be this year, though. I just don't know.
Like, that's what I was getting at. Like, how confident are you that LSU is a 9-3 or better team this season?
I agree with this, Colin. He's got size, but I want to see him use it. And what I mean by that is I thought Jaden Gibson last year was mossing people on plays, right? And then you get down to the goal line, a perfect time to use him, right? And, not. So I would like to see guys like Carry-On and guys that have a lot of size, I would love to see used in the right situation, man. But I think Emmett Jones, what Emmett Jones has done, you can't argue what he's done. And you can't – what he's got is he's got speedsters. He's got all-around receivers. He's got big receivers. He's got physical receivers. He's got all of it. So – that tells me you're a great recruiter when you can get every basic slot, outside, inside, all of it.
Yeah, he's got it landing some of the fastest guys in the country. Zion Reagans, Ivan Carry-On, kind of a guy that could have been ranked higher. Just so much potential, 6'6". Zion Kearney, one of the best all-around wide receivers. And then just the other guys he already has. That room is just so deep from top to bottom with so many different skill sets.
Hey, Ron, I agree. But if the player's not in the game, you can't force that on him, is what I'm saying. Like, if you got a big receiver down at the goal line, put him in so it will make them take him away. And maybe somebody else would be, is what I'm kind of saying. And the player personnel mistakes have to be put on Levy. Jay, here's what I would say to that. we heard Brent Venables last year say that Levy doesn't, that the position coaches are the ones. Now, what's true on that? I don't know.
That whole thing, that whole situation, it
Weird.
felt, at least to me, that there wasn't a straight answer.
I agree.
Like it was kind of a flip of the coin. Which one is it actually? It was never really set in stone. This is how it's going. Position coaches are doing it, or Jeff Levy is doing it, and that's the end of the story.
Hunter, I have a very, very, very hard time believing that the offensive coordinator doesn't get to pick who's playing the positions.
I agree.
Because if you go
position coaches,
you're going to want certain guys in there.
I agree. Position coaches have a strong input, but I feel like the final say is the offensive coordinator.
It's got to be.
Like
that's why they're getting paid more money, is it not?
I mean, I thought so, but I don't know. Success for Levy at Mississippi State.
6 and 6.
8 to 9 wins.
Max. The max every year they can get to, I think, is 8, maybe 9.
Yeah, I agree. I think success for Levy is a 9-3 season that gets you into the college football playoff, backdoors you into it. That's a successful season for Jeff Levy.
Like make the playoff?
No, like a success as in like this is a great head coaching hire for them to sneak into the playoff. Not consistently, just 1 or 2 times. If he's
Ricky, that's a great point. Levy was too arrogant not to. Hey, I do agree. I see some stuff in the chat. How do you call a play if you don't know who the wide receiver is? Exactly. That's why I think it was probably more of a sticking up for Levy by saying it's I think everybody knows Levy's probably the one picking who's playing.
Yeah, I want to clarify something. I'm not saying Mississippi State 9 wins this year. I'm saying down the road. Yeah, 6 and 6, I think is probably their max this year. If I looked at their schedule closely, I'd probably say even less.
I don't even need to look at their schedule. I know who they have transferring in and out, and it's going to be. I think it'll be
it's an uphill battle for them.
It's going to be an uphill.
You're adding Oklahoma and Texas into that conference as well.
Correct. Wouldn't that be a success for OU? Is he talking about making the playoff? Or?
I mean, yeah, making the playoff, you have to do it. I think for OU, like their end goal is beyond that. It's playing for a national championship and eventually ending the drought and winning one.
Mississippi State does not have a goal right now of winning a natty. I mean,
no, I'm saying like I think their absolute peak of a program is getting to 9 wins every few years, making a 12-team playoffs, losing in the first round, but making it.
Hey, Dalpo says, do you think Robinson plays running back or fullback? Here's what I would say. I think there's so many running backs there that are really good. But I think they're going to want to find a way to get Xavier Robinson on the field. So either in a 2-back situation or something like that, where he maybe is a fullback or a lead blocker. Also, Hunter, he catches the ball pretty good.
He does.
On the backfield. I mean, so H-back, there's different things you could do with
it. I think H-back is the clear.
If they have an H-back, we'll see.
If they have one, I would think they have one with Seth Luttrell. I think H-back is something that returns to Oklahoma. Also, I mean, I think it's hard to not look at Xavier Robinson and think that's a goal line back. I mean, he's massive.
Hey.
All the other running backs, he is way bigger than they are. I think he's going to get the 3 yards pretty much every single time if you need 3 yards.
Yeah, Chief, let me answer this one. 2 teams I'm going to mention. UCLA and Washington. I think Washington's getting ready to fall off the face of college football.
I can understand where you're saying that.
It was a one-hit wonder, first off. And
I think more because of the coaching staff they lost.
It's the coaching staff they gained is why I'm saying they're not going to be any. I think that's
a dead fish fan.
I'm not.
I liked what he was doing with Arizona. I would have liked to see him.
Hunter, he took the Washington job and then interviewed for another one.
Yeah, it's a weird situation there.
You took the Washington job, which you think is in fact, he took it and said, that's my dream job. Yet he interviewed for another one.
I thought he said the same thing when he got hired at Arizona. So I don't know how much you can take his word on that.
I think those two teams struggle year one. And Washington struggling is going to be about 4 or 5 losses. I just think I think both those teams, Chief says USC, but UCLA's got a new coach, Deshaun Foster, who is extremely young. Now, there's no doubt. I think he's energetic. The players love him. But when you hire a guy that just the players love, does not always mean it's a perfect scenario.
I think maybe this is a hot take of the night. I think UCLA is in a better position coaching-wise than they were with Chip Kelly right now. But going to the Big Ten is brutal for them. I don't think they're going to have success anytime soon.
Hey, here's what I'll say, and this is, I think, a great comparison. Washington is going to be like TCU was.
Really?
TCU made the Natty. I don't think TCU will make another playoff. I don't.
I think they will. I think they will. I think they win the Big 12 at least once over the next 6 years. Who do you
Utah
right now? Right now, who do you think wins the Big 12? Like the next 2 years?
I would say Utah's a great chance to win it.
Okay.
And I mean, probably. I don't. Other than Utah, Arizona. I was pretty high on, but I just don't know about their new coaching staff.
Yeah.
Hunter.
Feed a dog though.
Like, I think they're really good talent. The other one I would say is K-State's going to be there every year.
Yeah,
I think Baylor. I think Baylor's a team that's on the downhill slide. I do. It's
crazy how that's all worked out for them. I thought Dave Aranda would be really successful there. It just has not happened yet. I like the Utah comments in the chat. I think that's one of the newcomers for sure. Then if you're going with teams that have been in the conference, I think you got to say K-State, TCU. Maybe not TCU immediately, but I think what Sonny Dykes is doing there, and I think Mez is right. No Big 12 team make a serious run of the playoff. Probably not. I do not see Big 12 having a chance at a national championship.
Can you imagine OU makes the playoff and they draw first game against K-State or something?
That would be
big mofo. Gosh.
That is the biggest slap in the face you can imagine, because I mean, I would assume OU is kind of looking at it as, man, no K-State last year, no K-State for the foreseeable future, a team that's been a thorn in their side, and then to draw them in the playoffs, that would be very difficult.
Let's end it with this one here, Chief T-Bird question. The Big 12 will be relegated to a group of 6 status in less than 5 years, true or false? I think I say true, because I think there's going to be some teams leave the Big 12 and join in it. I think more power conferences are coming. I think SEC may get bigger. I think ACC may get bigger. I mean, and Big 10 may get bigger. So
I think it will be 3 conferences in the Big 12. I do too.
That's why I'm saying true. That's why I'm saying true.
Oh, I'm saying false.
No, I'm saying the Big 12 will be no more, is what I'm saying.
I'm saying false. Basketball will keep the Big 12 alive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's true.
I mean, look at the basketball conference they have right now. Houston, Arizona, Kansas, Tech, Baylor. Yeah. Like, they are just loaded from top to bottom. Basketball will keep them alive. And I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting with how all this stuff's going down in the ACC right now, teams trying to get out. What would you think of you would have to think the Big 12 would be in contention if the ACC were to completely collapse to land NC and Duke.
Well, I'll say this.
If the SEC don't jump on them early, you would think they would have to go to the Big 12.
I agree. I am not a Brett Yormark fan. In fact, I don't like him at all. But I will say this. How quickly he jumped and got the teams from the Pac-12, he was kind of the instigator to get them. So I do think that aspect of him being kind of a go-getter to get teams, I could see that happening because I think he would do that. And I think
I don't like Yormark either. He is really good at his job. He has done very well for the Big 12 with this
except the stupid wrestling belt. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean that's just I don't think I kind of believe that a marketing intern came up with that and he accidentally signed off on it and just had to go through with it.
Yeah, maybe so. Tyler says 3 conferences: SEC, Big 10, and Big 12, which I think he's saying kind of what you're saying. They would take over the ACC. Yeah,
I think the ACC is. I mean, they're holding on by a thread right now. You see the Clemson stuff. FSU has been trying to do everything they could since December and the playoff issue. So it's interesting on who would the SEC want from the ACC is the question. Because I feel like the other ones are just going to the Big 12, especially for basketball.
Florida State, because of
Florida. Florida. I think Florida State and Clemson.
And Miami.
Yeah. I would like to see North Carolina and Duke on the basketball side of things, especially. But I don't know how it would go if the Big 12 is making offers, kind of building that basketball super conference.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, guys. We're at 51 minutes. Appreciate all the people on here tonight in the chat, keeping it rolling like you always do. The Surgeaholics are the best. Best there is right there. Hunter, thanks for joining tonight. Jeremy will be back. Appreciate you guys as always. Make sure you check out the Fanstop, fanstop.com. Check them out. Use code SURGE, get 10% off your first 3 months. Get signed up for that so you can get the next month shirt. Also, some of you guys are Sooner Surge Unlimited members. Some of you aren't. Chief is. Thanks so much, Chief, for the super as well. Appreciate it. And a great question, by the way. Appreciate you as always. Hope everybody has a great Wednesday. Talk to you tomorrow. Boomer.